her smile in the morgue. A mortician was in love with a corpse. He was in love with a smile. The strange thing about it was she was only smiling for him. They were parted slightly as if she were about to say something, and then he saw it, a faint smile playing on her lips. Every time he looked at her, he felt a jolt of electricity run through him. He spent hours just staring at her, memorizing every inch of her beautiful face. He would talk to her for hours, telling her everything that was on his mind, his hopes, his dreams, his fears. He wanted to feel her in his arms, to have her in his bed. So he took matters into his own hands. He put on her favorite perfume, the one that I smelled on her when I first saw her. Just when he was about to give up, he felt something move beneath him. The covers were shaking. Was she coming back to life? Was his love for her strong enough to actually bring her back? He couldn't believe it, but he was feeling it. The bed was shaking more and more. And then, finally, she opened her eyes. Then he took her out of the funeral home and drove her to a secluded cabin in the woods. He laid her down on the bed, on top of the covers, and then he started performing mouth-to-nose resuscitation. He embalmed her, not to preserve her body, but to bring her back to life. He worked quickly, his hands moving with a precision that was born out of his obsession. When he was done, he stood back to admire his work. He had never been so proud of anything he had ever done. He felt like she was listening to him, that she understood him in a way that no one else ever had. He played love songs for her, slow, sensual tunes that made him want to hold her close. He would trace the outline of her lips with his finger, imagining what it would feel like to actually kiss them. He would bury his face in her hair, inhaling her scent, even though there was no scent. He kissed her with a passion that could only be born out of years of pent-up desire. She tasted like death, yet it was the most delicious kiss he had ever tasted. He held her close, feeling her cold body against his, and he knew that he would never let her go. He would keep her with him forever, even if she was just a corpse. There was nothing he wouldn't give to feel her soft skin beneath his touch, to feel her alive in his arms. It was so subtle that he could have easily dismissed it as a trick of the light, but he just knew that she was smiling at him. Ever since she had arrived at the funeral home, he couldn't get her off his mind. She was the most beautiful corpse he had ever seen. They tried to warn him, telling him to stay away from her, that she was just a corpse, nothing more. But he couldn't help himself. He was drawn to her like a moth to a flame. He knew that she was different from all the other corpses he had ever seen before. There was something about her that made him believe that she was still alive, that she was just waiting for him to wake her up. Her name was Laura, or so the tag on her body bag said. Nobody had come to claim her. No family, no friends. Apparently, she had died alone in her apartment. The medical examiner believed that she had been dead for at least 2 weeks before she was discovered. When he first saw her, she was lying lifeless on the cold steel table, her face pale and expressionless. But then he noticed her lips. From that moment on, he couldn't take his eyes off her. The other morticians at the funeral home thought he was weird. He started bringing her flowers, placing them on the table next to her body. One day, he decided that he couldn't wait any longer. He dressed her in a beautiful black dress, the one that I'm wearing now, but it was no use. She didn't wake up. I knew you would come back, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. I knew you weren't really gone. And then he kissed her.